Hiya, welcome back to Makeup and Metaphors with me, Anya, where we read books and we serve makeup looks. I am a 27-year-old Irish English teacher living in the UK. I thought I'd specify that because a lot of times when I'm covering GCSE content, people are saying, how do you know all this stuff? You should be a teacher. I am in fact a teacher, that's why I'm doing this. But today's video is a little bit different. A lot of people talk to me about my eyebrows. I know that sounds really random, but it's definitely the thing I get the most compliments on is my eyebrows, and that was not the case over a year and a half ago. My eyebrows were sparse, pretty much non-existent. I'll see if I can find some pictures of them, but I always used to like fill them in. I'll show you a before picture of my eyebrows anyway. And they were like really low, like almost like troglodyte, like down here, caveman, and one definitely sat much lower than the other as well. So this eyebrow here is like my dead eyebrow. No idea, I can raise it, can't raise the other one, but for some reason it just wants to completely chillax down here while the other one is up here. See? If I let it relax, it's way down there. I do fill in my eyebrows now, but very, very quickly, but I don't fill them in every day. I used to have to do it every day or they just didn't look right. And I'm sure a lot of people know what that's like, having to quickly fill in your eyebrows, like having a little eyebrow pencil in your handbag going somewhere. So why is microblading and tattooed eyebrows such a big deal now? Why are people getting it? Why aren't we just continuing to fill in our eyebrows and, you know, just love what God gave us? But it's not like that, is it? A lot of people are getting them tattooed and microbladed, and a lot of people say to me, I'm getting them microbladed or I'm getting them tattooed, which is better? And I'm going to share my opinion today. It is of course an opinion and both can turn out excellent if you go to the right places, but I'm going to tell you why I went with getting them tattooed instead of microbladed. I did quite a lot of research on it, spoke to a lot of people, went to a lot of different salons before I went to the salon that I did. I never part easily with my money in terms of cosmetic procedures, so I genuinely made sure that this is exactly what I wanted. And nearly 3 years on, I would still say I'm very happy with my eyebrows now. So I'm a 90s child, was definitely a product of the early noughties and into the 2010s in regards to plucking my eyebrows, in that no eyebrows or just a literal line of like a half circle was what was in fashion. So you had to pluck and pluck and pluck your eyebrows, and there was no YouTube tutorials on how to shape your eyebrows back then. You just plucked and plucked and plucked. You can see some scars here. That's because I would, to save time, get many hairs and just pull them out, which, like, obviously if you have many hairs at a time and pull it out and that brings the follicle out, basically a lump of skin is going to come out. So I literally have scars through my eyebrows of where I overplucked. That's how bad it is. Originally when I heard about microblading through like Instagram models or something, I thought, right, that's it, that's what I'm getting done. I'm sick of drawing these on every day. So I started to research microblading. So what turned me off microblading was basically the practice of it and a lot of negative reviews and a lot of negative pictures and images, and also a few of my friends that had it done where it just hadn't gone to plan. So just to get down to the basics of what microblading is, it's literally micro, small, blading, a scalpel. And in order to get those beautiful, really fine hair strokes that you see in those amazing images that really draw you in, they are little cuts, or as they actually refer to it in the definition of microblading, slices. So they slice the skin and then they rub the pigment in. So it's not like a traditional tattoo in the way that, you know, the needle, the hollow needle would be dipped into the ink and then it would deposit the ink under the layer of the dermis. Instead, it is sliced and then the ink is rubbed in. And it's only sliced a tiny bit. It's like the upper portion of the dermis. Obviously you're numb and you don't feel this, and you're numb for the tattooing as well. So as barbaric as it sounds, you wouldn't feel that pain. Now these slices, they look amazing when it's first done. They got these ultra fine little hairs, but you need to remember that at the end of the day, it's a cut. And how do cuts heal on the body? Well, they scar. So if in any way that it's done slightly too deep, or it will scar anyway, because even a tiny cut that you have will turn into a teeny tiny scar. But you also have to remember that if you get microblading done, it has to be topped up quite consistently. I think maybe every 6 months. I'll pop the actual figure here because I don't want to give out misinformation. But if you cut something and it scars up, and then you cut it again, the scar is then going to get bigger, and if it doesn't heal properly, it'll become like a bit of a keloid scar, like it'll be raised. Each time that you do that, that line is going to get more and more blown out, more and more faded, and it's not going to be that lovely, beautiful, fine line the first time you had it done. So you might start out with these like 3D hairstroke brows, but ultimately, after a few years of getting the exact same thing done, the hair strokes cut, heal, cut, heal, cut, heal, that's not going to be a beautiful fine line anymore. It's going to be a bit of scar tissue. So different ink is used in facial tattooing or cosmetic tattooing in relation to the tattoos on the rest of your body, because the skin is so much more fragile, delicate, thin, and normal ink, you know, it shouldn't really be exposed to sunlight. We should all be covering up our tattoos and putting on factor 50. I'm not very good at that personally. Tattoos fade in the sun, and obviously our faces are exposed to the sun all the time, and one thing that happens as well with ink in the sun is that it can change color. So as far as I'm aware, with cosmetic ink, I think that it's like less inclined to change color in the sun, because obviously you don't want to walk out with brown eyebrows and then after a few days in the sun have reddy orange eyebrows. Obviously if you have microblading and it looks amazing, awesome, very, very happy. I'm just saying why I didn't get it in relation to why I got the tattooed eyebrows. So the eyebrows that I got were called like semi-permanent 3D brows, but when I actually went in and spoke to my therapist, so I went to a place called Bow Salon, I think it's just outside of Ashford, I'll put a picture of it, it is beautiful. They've like redone it and it's super bougie now as well, but I think it was in just a building across the road from it when I did it. I had actually spoken and had a consultation on the phone before I even went there, and then I got a little pack in the post that had like an in-depth like run through of what was going to happen, as well as a little patch test, which I was quite impressed with, that had like a little bit of the ink on the inside of a plaster that you had to take off and then put on, I think, the inside of your wrist, or maybe it was behind your ear actually, like you do a patch test for your hair and you had to leave that on for 24 hours and make sure you didn't have a reaction to it, which I was very impressed with, because I wouldn't have been able to just drive down to Ashford to get that done and then drive back, you know. So I like to have a very full tail of my brow, and then I like to have these little hair strokes here. These hair strokes are all just tattoo lines, little teeny tiny tattoo lines. So I'll talk you through what happened when I went into the clinic, what happens when you get them done. When we went in, we got our numbing cream applied all across here like a unibrow, and that's given some time to work just so that you're not in any pain. It worked really well, and I think while I was near the end of mine, like my turn, the cream started to wear off in one area, so I just told the tattoo artist and she just reapplied the cream and it was fine. Now don't get me wrong, there is some horrible tattooed eyebrows out there, especially ones that were maybe done prior to 3 or 4 years ago. So after my eyebrows were sufficiently numbed, I was then brought in, and then all of these tools were brought out, like a protractor, a ruler, like a little white kind of kohl eyebrow pencil, and everything was measured to make sure that they were in the exact right places. So the distance from here to here was measured, the distance of my arch to my arch was measured, the distance from the end to the end was measured, and photographs were taken and lined up, and she'd stand there and look at them and she'd look at them from that angle, and then I had to agree to them, and she did that about 3 times to make sure that they were exactly what I wanted, because I wanted this eyebrow brought up slightly, almost like a little mini facelift. And you can even see from my before and after pictures that it basically was a little bit of a brow lift, because my eyebrows were quite low like here, and it just brought them up that slight bit, which is fabulous. So then the tattoo procedure began. I found it very calming, but I am very used to that procedure. Obviously I had never had a tattoo done on my face before, so I can officially say that I have a tattooed face, although, you know, it looks quite normal. I was allowed to check as the process was ongoing. We were allowed to talk. It was very calm. I had my friend with me who was also getting her eyebrows done, so it was kind of like a little girls' day trip out. You have to leave lots of time. This isn't the sort of thing that you can skip in on your lunch break and get done, because there's so many checks and measurements, and to make sure everything's right and measure it out, and you don't want to hurry your artist either, because they want to make sure they're perfect. So they say to leave like 3 hours for your appointment slot. I had nothing else on that day. I think it was the summer holidays or the Easter holidays when I got this done. So once it was done and I got up and I looked at them, I instantly was very happy. They were beautiful. They were a little bit dark, but just like getting a normal tattoo, the tattoo fades as it heals, even initially within that week. So just like a normal tattoo as well, unless maybe you don't know, but the skin comes off. So after you get a tattoo and it heals over a week or whatever, the skin actually flakes off and comes off. You basically shed like a snake. The only difference is when you have a normal tattoo, you put banthan on it, or you put hustle butter or some kind of moisturizing like ointment to help it heal. But with these, you can't put anything on it. You basically have to let them scab off, as disgusting as that sounds. And that to me was really difficult. You have to keep them completely dry for like 7 to 10 days. That was hard because obviously when you're in the bath or when you're washing your face or when you're having a shower, you cannot get them wet. I actually had like a wedding ceremony that night. I'll pop a picture here if I can find it, in which I did the makeup all around my face and just left the brows, and I got loads of compliments on my brows that night after they had been freshly tattooed on my face. So there was no redness, no discomfort. I thought they looked fab, and they still do in my opinion. So 3 months later, I went in for a checkup back at Beau Salon. I think that I didn't need to get anything done. I think the person that came with me had to have a few little hair strokes put back in, just because as tattoos heal, sometimes you can see what you couldn't while they were being done. That was included in the price. I believe that I paid £350. I think I paid like a £50 deposit, and then it was £300 on the day. And that was over 3 years ago at this stage. You are supposed to go back every year to get them topped up. I have not done that. Very naughty. I will get them topped up again before my now rescheduled wedding, which is next August, and I can take some footage of that day. So I hope that you can see why I went with the tattooing rather than the microblading. If you have any questions on getting your eyebrows tattooed or anything like that, pop it in the comments down below and I will get back to you, to the best of my knowledge anyway, having gone through it myself. So I'm going to take off this eyebrow here on my left so that you can see. I'll just start here, go down. Beautiful. My lovely freckles are out as well. And that's it. So that's the tattooed on brow. That's usually how I would have it on the daily, and then I would just fill it in very, very quickly with some eyeshadow, depending on my hair and depending on the look. It's handy that I got them done quite light because I have naturally kind of blondish brown hair, and I dye my hair a lot. So when I dye it red, I can put a little bit of red eyeshadow through it. When I have it orange, put a bit of orange eyeshadow through it. There's no gaps at the moment. These little strokes here are just little tiny tattoo strokes, and then the end was just filled in solidly. It was darker when I got them done, but they lightened up. If I wanted to get them done again, I would have no issue getting it done. I think it's definitely worth the money. I hope this video helped you in some way, shape or form. If you're just interested about tattooed eyebrows versus microbladed eyebrows, why people get them done, how it works, let me know down below. Drop me a comment, drop me a like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Alright, thanks so much. I'll see you next week. Bye!